Fantastic.
And we're live.
We're live, are we? Fantastic.
We certainly are. Welcome, everyone. Give it a couple of minutes before we start, just in case anyone else wants to join. But hope everyone's okay this evening. Can everybody hear us in the chat?
Can anybody hear us?
Hello, Modeling for Advantage.
Fantastic.
Is that the Kaiser?
All right. Is volumes okay? Can everyone hear us? Looks promising.
It's the Kaiser.
Kaiser's in the house, is he?
Lovely. Hear us fine.
Perfect.
Fantastic.
Take it away.
Cool. Evening, everyone, and welcome to episode 5 of the Plastic Crack podcast. Myself and Tom are here, and today we're going to be talking about everything wargaming. So strap in for an exciting ride.
Plastic crack. That sounds like some sort of sex aid. I'm not going to lie. It's that's just worrying. I'm just so worried on every level now. Never mind. Hi everybody. Welcome to our ramble through the rubbish that we decided to talk about on a Monday night. You'll have noticed we haven't got Leon here. Sorry for the lulling you here with false pretenses. Leon T66 was due to join us, but he's not feeling too good. So if you're watching, mate, feel better. If we feel better, and hopefully you can join again.
Absolutely, yeah. I hope you do feel better, buddy. Yeah, come back on a future episode, definitely.
Open to anybody else who wants to join us on the Monday night, who's got a channel or a stream to, or just join us on the chat. We're more than happy to accommodate, or just chat away in the chat box. That's the other way, of course.
Absolutely. I thought as well, Don, maybe starting this week, we could actually try and put some order in into this.
Bloody hell.
Maybe.
You're trying to make this. See, he's gone to 1,000 subs and suddenly he's got all professional on us. I have to say this. Congratulations on your 1,000 subs, mate. Well done.
Thank you very much, buddy. Thank you.
I'll raise me coffee to you. There you
go. No beer this week.
Work night, isn't it? Working.
Oh, yeah, work night, yeah. I've only got the water, but yeah.
Guinness Light, you got?
Guinness Light, yeah. Absolutely. But yeah, so I was thinking the first part we could just go through what we've painted this week over the last week. So did you want to kick that off, Dom?
Sorry, I was completely distracted by Leslie's comment in my chat. He said those Stalingrad buildings match your complexion tonight.
I know.
Because it's just pink and yes, there you go. You've been out in the sun, mate.
Yeah, it's bloody hot in here.
Sorry, do you want to start that again? He's trying to be really professional and I'm just cocking it up again. I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. I was going to say, do you want to crack on what you've painted this last week?
Yeah, what have I been doing this week? It's been a weird old week this week. I don't seem to have got through as much as I usually do. So I haven't cracked on that much. I've been really addicted. I don't know whether I mentioned it on last week's pod. But I'm really addicted to the Spanish volunteer figures I got from Offensive Miniatures.
Yeah,
they are just awesome.
They are good, aren't they? They are really good.
Beautiful.
I've purposely left them out just to look at them.
I would be having them sitting in front of me here, but I just thought, no, I'm going to leave them alone for 5 minutes. I've done a unit of 10, and I've halfway through the next 10. So I've got 30 volunteers to paint up. So by the time we talk next week, hopefully, I should have done all 30 of them. Plus I've done 6 of their Spanish light infantry, and they're just awesome. They're just absolutely lovely. They just hold the paint really well. Got beautiful detail.
Yeah, they are really detailed,
really
aren't they?
Nice.
The recesses on them are really nice. Have you been... what sort of painting have you been using contrast to those, or have you been
a bit of both really? Yeah, I like a mixed bag of the two. I like to use a bit of contrast because I think that just is a really good base, and then just work on that. So
I've started going to that sort of platform with my miniatures now. It definitely has its places, and it is a really nice paint. Absolutely. Is there anything else, or have you got? Or is that it
No,
this
that's
week?
pretty much it actually. I've yeah, just I say I haven't really got through that much this week. I keep looking at other ones and thinking I must have a go at that, and then I keep no, I'm going to be disciplined and focus on what I'm doing. So also I've got an industrial injury. This will make you laugh. So
Here it goes.
this is just ridiculous. This is the stupidest thing in the entire world. So my older daughter is just bored silly at home. She's got nothing to do.
Yeah.
Don't know what else to do with the time. She's 19. She normally should be out doing stuff, and so she got open all these jigsaw puzzles to do. So we were sitting down last night doing this jigsaw puzzle, and it's a bloody complicated one. It's I don't know, it was tigers and all sorts of different things, and so you try and identify one tiger from another, and then breed. Anyway, this is a war game channel, and somehow because I was leaning in some way, I've done something to my shoulder. So I've got a bloody injury from bloody doing jigsaws. I woke up this morning and I couldn't lift my arm above about here. So it's like absolute agony today. Jeez, how pathetic is that? Absolutely
I don't
pathetic.
think that's an excuse.
Oh dear. Oh, Leon's just popped into the chat. No worries, mate. Hope you feel better soon.
Come on, Ken Dom has more watching tonight. Oh, very nice. I'm on 6. I don't know how many you got, buddy.
8. There we go.
Oh, very nice.
There we go,
Very nice. Very nice indeed.
So what are you working on then? What have you been working on?
Oh, Dom, I've done a lot this week.
Oh, see, he set this up just so that he could launch in and tell me all these things because he's a git.
Well,
go on then.
Right, okay, let's start. Well, I painted all of the Assault Group Japanese. Obviously, I did a video on those. They got painted up.
Yep.
I think there's about 25, 30 of those. They were really fun. They were pretty much that I did all of those in contrast paints, just because that's how I'm going to do my Japanese. Really, really nice models. Again, these companies that I don't know if you'll agree with me on this, but I'm finding now that metal miniatures. Well, I'm finding myself personally, metal miniatures seem to hold more detail than some of the plastics do.
I think as a rule they do, in my honest opinion. I think there are some really good plastics out there, but I just don't think they do. I think metal definitely holds the paint better. I think it holds the sculpts much stronger. But some people are absolute, love plastic over metal, and then people love resin over metal, and I personally, a decent metal figure for me is the best. I much prefer that.
Well, that was my Japanese. Then I moved on to some German pioneers. I've painted 15 of those, which I'm really glad I did because I've been putting off doing them for ages. And I mean ages I've been putting off doing them. And they look good because they're going to be for the Stalingrad board again.
Yep.
I painted the rest of my German Africa Corps stuff. So my bike, medic, officer, couple of men, machine gun, and mortar. So they all got painted.
Yeah.
What else have I done? I did some more. I've started painting the Dad's Army figures. I've done 5 now. So I've done Corporal Jones, Sergeant Wilson. Obviously, I did Captain Memory the other day. I've done Fraser and Walker. So they're all done. But I've painted those in the traditional method. I've only used Black Templar contrast paint on those.
Oh, really? Oh, hang on a minute. Hang on, stop press. So you didn't use contrast paint in everything. Bloody hell.
No, it's crazy, isn't it?
I can't believe it.
Yeah, I know. And you're going to be more surprised in a minute what I'm going to say. I painted, do you know those SS figures?
Yeah.
I painted all those.
Fezzes. Oh, really?
Yeah, they're done. And they were done with a mixture of contrast and normal. Well, I say normal because there's no normal way of painting, but traditional painting methods. I did the jackets with oak tree. Is it oak tree? Camouflage.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I use a sponge technique for them.
Yeah.
And they are probably some of the best miniatures I've ever painted.
Oh, nice.
They are absolutely amazing. They look fantastic. And another thing I want to point out just quickly, Army Painter Strong Tone Ink.
Beautiful stuff.
I've only started using it recently, and for historicals, I already prefer it over, say, Games Workshop, Sagrak, Earthshade, and Known Oil. I really think it works well, especially with metals. Goes on absolutely amazing. So I painted all those, and then I did some more Germans. So I counted. I did 92 models this last week.
Jesus, 92 models. That's
Yeah,
ridiculous. That is
over 7
absolutely
days.
ridiculous.
So
work's been busy then for you, mate.
yes.
Brilliant.
But I'm still staring, like literally now, I'm staring at my Black Seas ships, thinking, Jesus, I've got to paint
You've
them.
got to
soon.
get on with them. There you go. There's your challenge for next week. I need to see
Oh no!
at least one ship
no.
fully done. So who have we got in the chat?
Yeah, maybe.
Leslie says, yeah, not enough time in the gym. You're quite right, mate. When you can't go to the bloody gym. That's the whole problem at the moment. So I'm screwed. I used to swim 3 or 4 times a week and go to the gym a couple of times, and that's buggered all that up. Mate.
Yeah, I know. I can't even go swimming. It's bloody annoying.
Oh, the Stugmaster is in the house as well. Oh, he's just gone. Sorry, I know he's in America, Stug. So welcome, goodbye.
Yeah, welcome, goodbye. So second thing, have you bought anything this week?
You're just leading me down the good. Yeah, I have. Yeah, I have. Yeah. It's been well established that I have absolutely no willpower whatsoever. So what did I buy this week? I can't even. I'm struggling to even remember what I bought. I did buy. I tell you some of the more practical things I bought. I bought some inserts for those plastic boxes that you get from everywhere. I can't think what they're called now, but the ones that have the clips on each end. So you can buy these wooden or MDF inserts you can put in, which have all the holes punched in them, so you can put your own bases in them. So I bought a load of them because I wanted to get some better transport
movement trays.
Yeah, no, these are actually for putting in the actual boxes.
Okay.
So really useful boxes. You know, they're really useful boxes.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
That's one of here. Where is it? These things.
Yeah.
So you can buy these inserts that basically just sit in them, and they've all got the holes all punched in them, and you can then, hopefully it's a bit more safe to transport. So I bought some of those, and I also bought some movement trays that I needed for my Indian Wars. But then I did go in and I did buy a few more figures. I'm trying to remember who I bought them from. There was a company I'd never heard of before. They were doing some Salute deal, so I had to go and try them out.
I know. I tried to avoid the Salute page like the plague.
Yeah, I did resist. Oh, Black Scorpion Miniatures. You ever heard of them? Scorpion.
No.
They do lots of fantasy stuff, but they had some really nice mercenaries that look really good for a sort of medieval band I'm trying to build up. So that's why I bought those. What else did I buy? God, I bought about 3-4 things. I can't remember.
Is that bad?
Oh, I did get some. I did Historic in America. Don't you ever tried them out? They do some really good markers and things for bolt action and other game systems and sharp practice. And they were doing a 15% deal, which basically pays for the postage from America. So, and I've ordered from them before. They've always been absolutely brilliant at sending stuff over. So I ordered from there and got them sent over. And there was something else I can't remember now. Gripping Beast. Oh yeah, I bought some stuff from Gripping Beast. I did. Oh damn. Yeah. I mean, the reason why I did that, and because this is so pathetic, right? The Gripping Beast was always one of my go-to stands at Salute. I'd always go there and always buy something. So I bought a few medieval figures from them, a few shield. Just because I always love buying this. If you've never been over to look at their stuff, it's really, really good. Really, really good.
Yeah.
What about you? I bet you've been really good, haven't you? Bought anything?
No. I actually bought some stuff, Dom.
Oh my goodness.
I have bought some KIA, so Killed in Action figures.
Yeah.
Only place I could find them was eBay, or the ones I wanted anyway.
Yeah.
I'd reached out on the Bolt Action group because I wanted guys that were led on the floor. I didn't want wounded. I wanted actual floor guys. Yeah. So I got some Russians and I got some Germans for the Stalingrad board.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I'm going to put them on as like actual bits of terrain, so they'll be permanently on the board.
Okay, nice. Yeah.
So
Grizzly.
you know, just to add a bit of spice and a bit of flavour. I did think about doing like either because I've got a graveyard I'm going to put on the board, but I thought about doing maybe a mass grave or something like that, or like an execution sort of thing. Bit of a, I know it's a bit grim.
You're going
But
full on grim, aren't you? Blimey.
yeah, yeah, but it's what happened, isn't it? You know what I mean? You know, Germans and the Russians, they're
Yeah.
both just as bad as each other for shooting each other when they were POWs.
Yeah, it's true.
So I just thought add a bit of history into the board. You know, it's not something you see on a board all the time. This is the other problem I'm having, Dom, is this Stalingrad board. Obviously, I'm getting ideas constantly about it, and I need to calm myself down a little bit because otherwise I'm never going to finish it.
You've just got to focus on getting the basic stuff done and then getting it looking how you want it to, and then you can start adding in all the little bits and bobs later
Exactly.
on. That's the way you got to
Exactly,
do it.
yeah.
But yeah.
That's what I mean. That was an idea that popped in my head. I thought, oh, KIA figures all over. And I thought that'd be nice. But yeah.
Funny enough,
That
I've
was
been
that.
buying. I never usually buy dead figures or killed in, or sort of injured figures. I always think they're a bit. I don't really need them. But then I've been watching Seventh Son Martin, he's been doing a lot of them as casualty markers on not black powder. What's the other one? Yeah, he did use them on black powder.
Power action?
Yeah, but no, I think it was more black powder. He was using them so when you get a casualty, normally we all just put a counter or a dice. So he had, funny enough, he was playing a game, a black powder game with his wife, and he was recording that, and he was putting down little markers. So every time the British took a casualty, he had a dead Brit, and he put it behind, and then if it's dead French, he had dead.
Yeah.
And I thought it looked actually pretty good. I quite like that.
Yeah.
So I thought
I thought that would be a good idea for bolt action, you know, because obviously you get killed in actions all over the board, don't you? So where you do drop a figure, maybe it's worth putting a killed in action mark, and then you get them. It's kind of adds to the terrain throughout the game, doesn't it?
I guess so. Yeah. I guess the thing is with bolt action doesn't actually play much part, does it? Whereas in the thing about black powder and mainly black powder and some of those ones where you don't actually take a figure off because your unit is a unit. So you never actually remove a figure when you get casualties. So you need some way of marking it. I suppose you could do the same with maybe fatigues in bolt action. So as you rather than putting down markers for how many pips you got or whatever, you could put down a dead figure to denote you got one. One thing on it, one shock on it. Maybe that'd be the way to do it. But that's I think I've never really bothered with the dead markers, but I did buy a few recently, and I'm toying with them mainly because again through Offensive Miniatures they sent me a couple of freebies. Again, one of their salute offers with the previous order I got. As a little wounded drummer boy, and I thought he's absolutely perfect to sit him on a round base where I could put a dice because he's sitting there spraying with he's got his drum behind him. He's propped up. He's obviously been shot and he's got a wound or a bandage around his one eye. And he's got his legs sprayed out, and I thought it's perfect to put a little dice where his legs are as a sort of marker, and just sort of do it that way. And I thought, and I never really bothered with that, but I saw Martin doing it on Seventh Son on his channel, and I thought, yeah, it looked really neat, really neat.
Yeah, look, nice little idea.
I might start doing a bit of that as well. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, that's figures over. Shall we move on to some questions?
Yes. What are you working on tonight? Is the first question.
I'm working on my Home Guard Dad's Army stuff, so I'm doing Private Pike at the minute.
Don't tell him your name, Pike.
Don't tell me. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm working on him at the moment, and then I'll move on to Godfrey and see where I get from there. Because obviously I'm painting them traditionally, so I'm just gonna do with that. What about yourself?
I'm going up. I'm going upping things. That's what I'm doing.
Oh, okay. Ooh, terrain.
Yeah, I thought I need to get on and do some buildings. So I've got this one here, which is there we go. Hold it the right way around so you can see all the windows. That's trouble is I can't remember who I got it from. I've had it for ages.
I know you got it from because it was on offer and it was bloody good.
Yeah,
because I've seen that. It's a nice set.
Really good.
One half's a little bit lower than the other half, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's really nice. So I've got that to paint up, and I've also got, you may have seen it if you saw my showcase for my winter Russians, some of the Stalingrad type ruins that I need to finally paint up. So that I thought, well, while I'm here away from my normal painting desk, I'm gonna slap some paint
Why
on
not,
these.
sort of thing.
So yeah, that's the plan. So what's Leslie's activity said? What's he saying? Oh yeah, plenty of gardening to be done to keep you fit. Yeah, all right, thank you, mate. Yeah, we don't need your sort round here. Thank you.
No, no.
In all fairness, I have been doing loads of gardening the last few weeks. My wife is brilliant at gardening, so she loves the idea of a garden. So she'll.
I'm not going to lie. I don't touch our garden for the sole reason as I rent. So
okay.
My landlord agrees that it's, you know, as long as it's tidy, that's his domain to per se look after. So
good for you. I have to say, I would rather that. I'm not much of a gardener. I cut the grass.
I'm not going to be painting fences. I'm not going to be paying my own money for that. I pay him enough money as it is. So,
my wife is the great gardener. She'll go around and say, I'm just going out to do some gardening, and my heart sinks because I know within 10 minutes it'll be like, can you just come and dig a hole here, and can you just weed this bit here for me? And what you mean is I'm doing the gardening, right?
And she's sitting there having a cup of tea, sort of thing. Yeah.
Oh no, she's wandering around pruning things, but that seems to be involved just dropping them on the floor, and then I have to go around picking them all up and put them in the green recycling. So first of all,
while you're out, you might as well help out, you know.
See why I'm going off you, Ken? Jesus, I don't need this kind of thing. It's bad enough with it.
Yeah. What's Leslie say? Ken, you can make your own washes, use artist varnish, and mix a small amount of artist oil paints of colour to suit your figures. Oh, okay. Okay, that's quite interesting. Only problem I'd have with that, Leslie, is I'd probably like it to be if I picked up a miniature in 6 months' time, remembering what wash I used or what ratio I used. I know you can write it down, but I'll forget, and I won't write it down.
That's very true, actually.
And he's also said, with your ships, paint them white and then just use ink washes. They come up great. Oh, that's not a bad idea. Contrast paints, though, Leslie. That's what I've been painting them in.
Contrast That's a very good idea, though. I do like that. That's actually a really good idea. I mean, you don't get the sort of national characteristic colour-wise, but then a ship that's been at sea for a long time is going to be pretty blandly coloured anyway, isn't it? Yeah. I'm still about... Actually, that's true. I didn't mention that on my list of things I'm working on. I'm about halfway through doing the Victory.
Okay. Oh, that's quite good. You're going to do a video for that one, are you?
I'll do him when he's finished. Yeah. I should have probably done a stage by stage on it, but I just forgot really. And it's taking a while to get it done. So yeah. But it's interesting. You were saying about the Army Painter dark tone. I swear by that. I really, really like it. Although, funny enough, I've gone the other way a little bit and started to use the Games Workshop one. What is it?
You've done the opposite to me.
Yeah, it's weird. I still like the dark tone, and it's nothing. When I was in the US, when I was in Dallas earlier this year, and I went to one of the War Games shops over there, and I picked up. They had a really big one, much bigger size, and I thought, I'll try it out.
What, the tins?
No, not a tin. No, it's still a plastic bottle, but instead of being, one of these little tiny ones, it was
probably 100 mil.
Yeah, it was about double the size, something like that. But
okay.
And it was a pretty good deal, and I thought, I'll give it a go. Although, of course, then I forgot, of course, you have to pay tax on top of that because American stuff is Anyway,
can't you claim that? Can't you claim that back though?
Not that level, really. I think you have to spend more than $100, and I didn't even spend.
Got you.
I think I just literally bought.
Americans always find that interesting, how the price you pay over here to what you see. They find that so interesting.
Yeah, I know.
But it's not hard to do. You could do it over there. They just can't. But but the prices change all the time. Well, we change our prices every day.
Yeah,
they have to do it in shops all the time.
I know it's not that difficult, really, is it? But it's weird that I don't understand the logic of it at all. It's an odd situation, but it is what it is. So yeah, I did buy some there, and I've almost got to the bottom of it. Almost used it all now, but I just well, I've done all that. Russian army was pretty much all done with that, and think that no. What else have I done since then? Quite a few figures anyway between then and when I got it. So yeah, whistled through it. But I have seen tutorials of people making that sort of stuff online, and it does look pretty easy to do.
Oh yeah, yeah. It probably is. It's just in a thing for me. It's also supporting local hobby shops and stuff. There's just loads of stuff behind it for me, but it's probably laziness more than anything else. I just can't be bothered. But it's one of those things, isn't it? If you want to spend the time to do it, you spend the time to do it. It's like people look at me probably and think, "Why the hell is he making all that terrain for when he could just buy it?" But everyone has their own interest, don't they?
Yeah, and you know, for some, the actual creation of they're more modelers, or they're as much into the modeling and the creating of this terrain and of the figures and everything else and the dioramas of it as they are of the actual gaming. I'm definitely more of a gamer than I am the other way around, but there are a lot of people out there who just love doing the stuff. I know loads who just absolutely just
Yeah.
you know
Yeah, see, just modelling for me
mm,
would not my cup of tea.
mm.
I'd definitely game at the end of it.
Yeah, I have to have a
Uh,
purpose to do it. I have to have that purpose, otherwise it just that's what gets me motivated to get on and paint things. It's if we're playing something down the club a lot, um, you
yeah,
know,
you want to get your stuff painted to
yeah,
actually be able to use it.
that's right. Just want to get it out and use it, and so it's a question then of getting stuff painted up that's going to be useful to play with and I'm going to enjoy using. So, yeah, very much that's my thing. But
Oh yeah.
I do think there are some really cool washes. I did pick up. Do you use any of those really odd other different colours that you can get? I'm trying to think. I haven't got them in front of me.
I've got loads. I've got greens. I've got reds. I've got blues. Got
Yeah.
purples.
So when
Yeah,
do you use the different ones? I mean, obviously you use the red when you got red, but what does it do that makes it?
tones it down. It makes it just makes it pull dark in the actual. So
Right.
like if you use just a normal flesh tone,
Hmm.
say from Games Workshop, you'd normally put a Raycon flesh shade, which is a red wash on it,
Yeah.
and it makes the face pop, obviously, and then you'd highlight it. That's what we always used to do. But now I've found that the strong tone just looks better for historical figures. It's more sci-fi and fantasy,
Right.
to be honest with you. If I paint, you think of all the vibrant colours you've got on Warhammer models, like all the purples and things like that. You
Yeah.
would use a purple wash to pop the purple to make it look nicer than you would any other wash. That I've got loads of them. Got blues and everything.
Yes, I was amazed when I was never much into using inks and dips and things like. Actually, I used dips was the first thing I used. I had those evil smelling things you can get from Army Painter that you literally drop your figure in. And
Oh yeah, no.
it was it gave a reasonable job, but it pool in all kinds of weird places, and then it stunk to high heaven. It took forever to dry.
You have to look at them, and drying times would be a nightmare, wouldn't they?
They would, oh, they were, but it did enough of a job, and it got me the taste. But I think I mentioned this in one of the videos. We were talking about different tips of how what tips you give people for painting, and I would say, washes are the thing that have been kind of thing that just made my painting just get so much more enjoyable, but also better quality, is just having those washes that you put on top, the Army Painters and whatnot, because it just makes it
Yeah,
stand out. But it was a huge step for me to paint a figure, spend hours doing it, and then pour something else all over the top of it, and think
yeah, it feels weird,
it
doesn't it?
just feels counterintuitive somehow, but it does make such a difference.
Yeah. Oh dear. Right. What's the next question?
Just see what else people are saying in the chat. Hang on. Leslie says, have a casualty figure with a small dice cup on the base as well. And dice keeps the number going. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking with that drummer boy. That's exactly what I'm thinking. If I build a little sort of cup for the cup to sit in, and the base is big enough, and the dice is small enough, it will just sit there, and I can just turn the counter around when I need to, just as a marker. I think that should work quite well. So that's the idea.
That's
Go
quite a clever idea.
Yeah, I think it's playing down the club. What's that then? Yeah, okay. Well, you never know. We might be getting out sometime soon. You never know. I
Yeah,
was
that'd be nice.
I was talking to some of my colleagues in Munich in Germany today, and they're allowed out for the first. Well, they're allowed to. Shops are reopening, and they can go to the hairdressers in a week's time or something as well. So things are starting to open there. So hopefully they will do here soon. Although I'm not sure how wargaming clubs are going to fare in the ranking of things that reopen fast.
The priority, yeah.
But never mind.
That's
Never
the
mind.
thing. It is what it is, and it's all for our own good.
It is indeed. So Kent,
So,
Kickstarter. That was going to be my topic tonight.
yeah.
I finally, and I've moaned about them enough on this channel, is the Kickstarter I had with Dog Tag Miniatures finally turned up today.
No.
Literally, and I looked at the date of expected delivery. It was a year ago, so it was due to be delivered in April 19, and it's arrived in April 20.
Bloody hell.
And they're quite nice figures. I'll do a video on it at some point. They're in fact, where's the one thing I was really impressed with? I'll show you now. Can you see this thing? I'll just put the building down. You see the motorbike?
Yes.
Really nice little motorbike. So
yeah, it's a nice bike.
There's a sidecar that goes with it. Whoop, can't. I'm trying to show it up. There you go. A little sidecar. So there's a little squadron of. Take the paintbrush out my mouth would help. So yeah, there's a motorbike, a couple of sidecars, and a motorbike guy. So there's a squad of basically mounted on motorbikes, which is quite cool, including a guy with a great big anti-tank rifle. Oh, I'm going to sneeze. Mounted on the sidecar, which is kind of really cool. But yeah, it finally did turn up, and it's like, oh my god, what's happened? You know, he emailed me the other day to say, you know, it should be with you any time soon. But bear in mind, he said that for about 9 months now. You know, it's just it drives me insane. But I have done a few in the past. But have you ever done Kickstarters? And you know, what have you done?
The only one I've done is for Mel the Terrain Tutor's book.
Oh, you did that? Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this was just before Salute last year.
Yeah, just after, I think. Sometime around there.
Yeah, I've done that, so I'm waiting on that. So
yeah, I saw him talking about it on his isolation live chat. I think it's stalled a bit, but because he hasn't been very well, has he? I think had a few domestic difficulties, and shall we say, and I think he's. But he said he was back on it again, so hopefully that'll be finished fairly soon. I think it was fairly well advanced, but
yeah.
No.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it, but I've done a Kickstarter that's not hobby related. I did one that was a PC game that is just gone. Well, they're still developing it. It's 3 years late, so that money's gone.
Yeah,
in my eyes.
It wasn't something called Harvest something or other. No.
No. It was on Police 1013.
Okay.
Police game, so it's a simulator game because that's what I'm into, simulators and stuff. So
right. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, that went.
Sorry,
that went a bit Pete Tong. No, that's right. No, that went a bit Pete Tong and kind of put me off them, to be honest with you. And I think that's a good thing, really, because otherwise I'd be spending well too much money on bloody Kickstarters.
I think there's some really good ones. There's another one which I'm definitely going to buy into. Going to happen the end of this month, which is the other phase 2 of Andy Hobday's Baron Wars thingy.
Okay.
So he did the one earlier. Was it earlier this year or end of last year? I think it was. Which I've shown some of the figures I got through that. And they're beautiful.
I'd feel more comfortable doing that because he's already produced on it, you know.
And
you've got it. It's just I don't think I would go for. It'd have to be bloody good to warrant me going for it. To be honest with it now.
The weird thing about it is I'm not entirely convinced I understand the logic behind doing some of them. It seems to me
it's so they don't waste money building too many games and not selling them.
Yeah, I get that. I do get that, but sometimes it sort of seems to me that they're kind of going to do them anyway, and so it's like, Kickstarter to me was funding something that wouldn't necessarily ever see the light of day otherwise.
Yeah, I think the Kickstarter platform's a bit abused now, especially when you've got big companies like did that Gloomhaven book. Oh, excuse me, Gloomhaven game. And they just brought out Frosthaven on there, and it, like 2 or 3 minutes, it was funded by £1 million, and those sort of things. No, there should be something on there, but Kickstarter ain't going to say no because they get a bit of that, don't they?
Oh, of course they do. Yeah, I can understand why they do it. And a successful Kickstarter is what they don't want is too many failures, because otherwise people go like you do. Why would I bother?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, I've done a few now. Surprise, surprise. This won't surprise you in the slightest, given my propensity to collect ridiculous amounts of figures. But I did the original Baron Wars one, and again that was because I knew it was going to be short and sharp. It was literally like 2 weeks, I think, and
yeah,
I think even for this one they've already shown the piles of figures waiting to go, which again sort of makes you think, well, why are they actually bothering to do it? Surely just launching them. But anyway, whatever. If I get a couple of extras on top, which generally you do as a stretch goal, it's worthwhile, and they are beautiful figures, so I'm quite looking forward to them.
Yeah. Yeah, they are nice models. You're showing them off. They are very nice models.
Yeah.
The thing is with me as well, whenever I fancy doing a Kickstarter, I look on Kickstarter and there's never anything there I want.
True. Yeah.
So
there's a lot of stuff for your 3D printer, though. You ever thought about that?
Yeah, there is some stuff for the 3D printer, but I'm not. I don't want to massively print out a load of models, to be honest with you. It's more going to be used for terrain, just because terrain's quick to build, quick to paint. I can airbrush it, and it don't take very long at all. But no, I have thought about it, but no, I've not actually pulled the trigger yet. So it's definitely one of those things I'm thinking about, but not actually done.
I've
oh my God, Private Pike.
You finished Private Pike? Blimey.
I think I have.
Blimey.
Better give him some hair. Better give him a haircut.
So what's going on in the chat? Said
let's go on chat. More for the stash, Leslie.
Yeah, that's true.
More for the stash, indeed.
More for the stash. You can't have too many. He said to me, "Colours or Warfare for the next show." Yeah, I think I'm not sure Colours is going to happen, is it? I'm not sure. That's too soon.
But when's Colours? I've never been.
I think it's
Where
September. I think Newbury.
Oh, I'll be going to that then.
Yeah, I think it's Newbury.
I need a war game show. I've bloody miss them.
If it's on, I'll go to that because it's again. I'm like right old shit here, but
have they got to bring them by?
Yeah, they do. Very big one.
Oh.
Yeah, watch out. You better take Liam with you, just so you can hold your stuff.
Oh Christ! No, not. I'll have to bring them by. Well, Laura's given me the all good for Warfare to go up for both days.
Oh wow, get you!
I know, Jesus.
Now, I've signed up for the bolt action competition. There.
Oh, you actually have you?
Yeah, and I'm not sure whether I'm actually going to go through it. I'm thinking I might just drop out of it.
It's over both days, so you missed the whole show.
That's what worries me. I really want to do it because it was such a nice competition when I saw it before. But 2 days and I won't get around the show, and I like the show and I like to.
You think they do a 1 day, wouldn't you?
It's always been my big issue there because they do some lovely
2 separate 1 days.
Yeah, they do lovely competitions, but it just in the past I've nearly done competitions there, but 2 days is just brain addles.
I might message him to see if I can get a little stand for the table once it's built. Like I've said, do that on the Sunday maybe, but on the Saturday go around the trade, because that's what I like. I like going to the trade, and it's going to be bigger this year, Dom, as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's going to be a bloody Ascot.
Yeah.
So it's going to be the salute, isn't it? Because salute hasn't happened. Do you imagine extra people going there?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, that'll be
It's,
packed.
it,
They'll make a mint if it goes ahead. Okay.
oh yeah, 100%. That's what I mean. That's what. Oh God, yeah, I can't wait.
You're drooling. I can hear it. You're just
Yeah, I
drooling.
literally can't wait. Wishing the year away. Just
I
get
don't
me
know.
to bloody
Just get
get
through
me
this.
there.
I have to say the bit. I'm beginning to really miss the gaming in a big way.
Yeah,
It's.
yeah. You can tell people about your experience on Friday if you want.
Do you want me to?
Yeah,
Oh
if you
my
want.
god. So yeah, okay. So this is my how desperate I've become. No, it's not true. Ken and I have been trying over multiple Fridays to play various games using Tabletop Simulator. We played a couple of games of Bolt Action. Liam destroyed one of them.
Yeah,
Um,
cheers, Liam.
cheers, Liam. But it's so. I'm a historical gamer. I hardly ever do any fantasy at all. It's really not my thing. I don't do card games. I don't really understand them. Um, but this fool on the other end here said to me, "Why don't you play this game? We've got this great game. You must play it. You must play it." What was it called?
Talisman.
Talisman. And he sent me this link to this family playing it in somewhere in the Midwest US. Sorry if there's any Midwest US people, but it was like, oh my god, it's like watching. I don't know. I'm not even going to say it because I'll get in so much trouble. But playing this
No.
game, and I didn't learn from that. But we started to play it last Friday, and talk about getting an absolute stitch up from Liam and Ken and their other mate who joined. There were four of us playing it. It was just like literally, it was like, oh, sorry, Dom, you've lost this, and oh, you've lost this, and oh, look, you were so strong, and now you've lost all this, and then it was like then when the reverse happens, they start losing. It's like, oh, I'm going to use this token here. What these four that I one of these four that I've got, and I could have used at any point. Oh yeah, you could have used them. It's like
That was it, wasn't it?
it's like okay, so I don't even know what I'm doing. I've never played this sort of game at all, and they've stitched me right up. And
Yeah,
plus,
it
the
was.
game was as boring as shit. If I'm honest, it was so boring. You got me started now, can you see? It was the
Yeah,
yeah. So how many rings were that you had to work your way through? Four, was it? Three or four rings you had to get
yeah,
through?
four. Yeah, four. It's got an outer edge and then an inner edge. To be fair, Dom, that for some reason we just weren't. It wasn't happening. That game was dragging. It should have been over
We
about
played for
20,
about
30
three
minutes.
hours, and we were still on the outer ring, not going anywhere. It was like, oh, for Christ, I think, yeah, I would, yeah, I'm not even going to
Not
say it.
again.
Not again.
Never.
And
Never
funny enough,
again.
my youngest daughter, she of the destroy my elbow with or my shoulder with jigsaw. She's a game. She likes games. She likes games a lot. And I said to her, I came down for a drink about 10 minutes, half an hour into the game, and she said, "Oh, I said, is any good? Any fun?" I said, "Yeah, it's quite fun. It looks quite interesting. You might enjoy this because it's the sort of thing she would enjoy." And
Yeah.
about 2 hours later, when I came down to get a refill or something, and she said, "How's it going?" I said, She said, "Is it that bad?" I said, "Put it this way, I'm not playing that ever again." It was just, yeah.
No.
But no, there you go. So we won't do that one again. Don't do that.
No, we won't. We won't play that again, Dom. It's fine.
So yeah,
It's no problem.
what can you say?
At least you tried it.
Oh dear. So what's he saying? Dom, take Alec with you. I presume you mean to warfare. Yeah, finish the. You will finish the game quick and have plenty of time to look around. Hey, that's cheeky. I usually beat Alec. Usually. His dice are terrible, Alex. He's just unbelievably unlucky with his dice. He's extraordinary. If you watch his videos of him playing, even playing against himself, he manages to roll crap dice. I don't know how he does that, but he does. He's a
He sounds
talent.
like the perfect player you want to meet in a tournament.
Yeah, you'd love it. I mean, you'd Ken, you'd love it.
I've been doing some research, I'll have you know, Dom, about bolt action and different units to take, and I've
oh,
been playing bolt action wrong
oh,
all
really?
this, yeah,
What
all
have you
this
been doing?
time. I've been taking heavy units and focusing on armor too much.
Yeah,
Um,
it's an
I need to
infantry
take,
game.
yeah, I need to yeah, it's an infantry game for a start. I need to take like tanks that have got lots of machine guns on.
Yeah, you do.
And autocannons instead of trying to get a Tiger on the field and wondering why 500 points of Tiger is missed that turn, and now I've got fuck all to play with.
It's a mathematic game, isn't it? At the end of the day, if you think one Tiger worth 500 points or whatever, it can only fire one gun and one set of machine guns. If it misses with the main gun, that's pretty much finished. It's basically just a medium machine gun then, and you paid 500 points for it. You could have had 3 squads for that, or at least 2 good ones anyway.
No, precisely.
Which are going to have much better chance of hitting. So yeah, it's a bit unfortunate, but that's why you have to play the old tank war version of it if you really want to play the tanks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's. I think I've made some new lists that I'm quite happy with, and I can't wait to try those out on Liam and kick his ass and make him cry.
There are some tanks in it that are really effective, though. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Some of them.
Your little Panzerjäger one was really good.
Yeah, I mean that's the sort of thing I think is good in these rules. Those sort of low cost, relatively light tanks that have got pretty good guns are worth it, because if somebody does bring a tank, you've got something to deal with it. But also you're not investing a huge amount of your army in something that really is going to have limited value, or is all in. It's all in one kind of thing. I did use a KB2 recently recently the last game I played, a bolt action, and that was fun because that's deadly. But again, I think I fired three times in 4 turns and only hit once.
It's a howitzer as well, isn't
it? Yeah, it's 52 mil, so it's a super, whatever it is, super heavy shot.
It's a big ass template.
When it hits, it does. I basically eradicated a veteran German platoon entirely. Just literally wiped it out with one shot. It was high.
I bet he loved you.
Oh yeah, he did. He absolutely loved that. But that's the sort of thing you can get away with, I think, because it was like 300 points. I think it was 300 points, something like that. 350 points. Quite not a bad price really for what it is. And if you get one shot in the turn, in the game rather, that hits and does that kind of damage, it's sort of paid for itself, because also everything sort of scampers around trying to cover it and avoid it, and so that effect has a big effect on the
exactly
on the game.
I think that's where I've got to change my tactic, not build my list around my tanks. Are fun. But I sorted all my figures out as well. I took all my figures out of their case yesterday, and I put them all in order, and just had a bit of a tidy up. I've tidied up my desk and stuff this week. So yeah, it's been quite an eventful week for me, to be honest. I've done quite a bit.
I do love the fact that you clearly have been incredibly busy at work, that you're doing all that stuff.
I know, I was off last week.
Oh, last week you were. Yeah.
Yeah, I was off. Yeah, I'm back at work now.
Yeah. I need to sort of get this place.
Monkey Friday. Yay.
Lovely jubbly.
Yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, no, that's fine. Like I say, I've got majority of these figures. Oh yeah, bloody hell! I found out my brother, for my birthday back in January, has bought me some historical figures.
Oh really?
And he has no idea what I like. So I was like, "What do you mean you bought me some figures?" He goes, "Well, I know you like historical stuff," and I said, "Yeah, there's a broad range there when you say historical." He said, "Well, I typed into Google historical figures and it come up with this company called Warlord Games." I was like, "Right, you're on the right track."
Good, sounded good, yeah.
So I was like, "Okay, so what did you buy me then?" He goes, "Well, I was watching The Patriot with Mel Gibson," and I was like, "Okay," and he goes, "I thought you'd like the British guys." I was like, "So you bought me American War of Independence figures?" And he went, "Yeah." I was like, "What ones?" He went, "Redcoats." I was like, "Good man."
Well done, that man. Well done. There you go.
Yeah.
So you're going to put Napoleonics on hold and go American War of Independence instead, are you?
Probably.
Nice stuff. Hey, Shauno.
Probably.
Shauno's World of Figures is on the chat. Good to see you, mate.
But yeah, no. So that's what he's done for me. So, obviously I've got to get him, and he lives about 40, 50 miles away from me. So it's not a trip that I'm going to be making anytime soon.
Not for a bit. No.
No, exactly. So at the moment, they don't exist in my head.
Well, when you do, enjoy painting those up. They're little buggers, but they do come out nicely, I have to say.
They probably will come out nice, but it's just I've painted those Napoleonics. Red and white. Oh,
yeah, it's. I bought.
You can't even airbrush the buggers.
No, you can't. It's they are tricky. They are really tricky to paint. I've got a load in production, and I just keep putting them away. I must get them back out and finish them off. I mean,
yeah, I know.
They're just, yeah, not my kind of thing. But there is one of the reasons why when I did the Kickstarter for the Muskets and Tomahawks 2, they did a British force for that that's all wearing campaign gear, which is basically just overcoats, and the rest of them are Rangers, which wear green uniforms, which is perfect. So I thought, right, that's ideal. So I don't have to do the bloody British. Although I did also get a few Highlanders who have to have a kilts, and I think, oh my god, I'm not sure I'm going to manage that. But we'll give it a go.
Oh no,
we'll give it a go. Give it a go. You got to try these things once in a while.
Yeah,
but
very true.
I saw those ones Leon was doing. Was he doing them on last week's channel? I think he was, wasn't he, with the Highlanders? Yes. And they do look really nice. I saw he put a video up of them. Excellent. Oh, excuse me, reaching down to pick up the building. But yes, no, that's I don't know. It's my birthday next month as well. My lovely daughter has asked me what could put a list together of things I want. So literally, I've done my shopping list of. The trouble is, she's very good daughter. She's very good, and she will get me that sort of stuff. Whereas my wife has no idea what to buy. Even when I write a list, she's, oh, I've got to go on the internet and buy it. Yeah. Anyway, but so get Imogen to buy it. That's better. She knows what she's doing. But it was really tough because the trouble is, I have so much discipline with buying figures that building a list is really hard of things I actually want.
It's very hard. It's very hard.
So I then have to resist the temptation to get a new period going.
No, I could imagine, because obviously I ain't got kids or anything, but she's like, how old is she? 19?
Yeah, so, 19.
Yeah, she's 19. Oh, mate, if I was 19, I had a girlfriend that was like, what figures would you like? I'd be like, what? Hey? Yeah. What, you actually buy me models for my hobby?
I know.
Really? Oh my god, it's a rare breed.
She's very rare. She's she's very, very bright, and she's, as I would because her dad's, so she's quite pretty. Very very athletic. But she's into gaming.
I know she watches your live streams.
Oh no, she can't be bothered. There is limits to how far she'll go on things like that. She'll ask how it went. But she's just like, she's into gaming. She's, Eric's boyfriend was a gamer, and and she played games with him. It was like, my goodness me, what is going on? She's into,
it's not being stereotypical. It's just very rare to see ladies in our hobby, isn't it?
Very rare, very rare. And I don't know, why is that? So in chat, maybe people know, why is it ladies, women, girls are so put off by wargaming? I just don't get it. You very rarely see them, even in the fantasy side.
I can tell you from my side of things with my girlfriend. She's just, I don't know. I've asked her before, and she said it feels like a very intimidating environment for. You've got to have a lot of confidence. Like she said, because she's been with me to Games Workshop, she goes, "Can you imagine me coming in here trying to buy your Christmas present?"
Yeah.
And I was like, she goes, "I wouldn't have a fucking clue what to buy. 1, 2, I'm surrounded by like men that all they're doing is staring at me because they've
Never seen a
girl in
woman.
it before.
That's true.
It's bloody intimidating. And it's
Yeah.
just like, to be fair, at Salute I saw quite a lot of women, but they were playing a lot more fantasy stuff,
Mm.
you know, sci-fi and all that sort of stuff. But you very rarely see historical
It's
lady
true.
gamers.
Very, very. I think in our club we have one lady. There was somebody's daughter who used to come down every so often. Not mine, I hasten to add. But she hasn't turned up for a while. So, yeah, very, very rarely. I don't know what it is, because there are plenty of girls, ladies who have real interest in history. I've known quite a few that kind of quite into the whole military history, uniforms, and not in that way. Stop it, Leslie. But kind of into all sorts of things like to do with history and what have you, which would, it's a fairly stereotypical thing. But I think there is something in the sort of, I don't know, the
It's a persona, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, let's be
It's
honest.
like,
Most of us
got
are.
the Bad Squiggo miniatures. She does some amazing sculpts for historical stuff, doesn't she?
Who was that? Sorry.
You see that Bad Squiggo
Oh yeah,
miniatures?
yeah, Annie.
Female miniatures. Do you know what I mean? She does some awesome stuff. But again, she's the only lady I know that does it.
There's a couple of girls who have a channel.
Oh yeah, I've seen them because they had an issue with bloody Vallejo.
That's it. And they mainly do fantasy stuff, but they're
over in Canada.
Is it Canada? Okay. So is that a difference? You think? You get more girls overseas than you do here.
Yeah, I just don't know what it is. It's one of those things, isn't it? I'd love it. Well, nearly slipped up there.
Yeah, careful. She might be listening. I don't know. I mean, in some ways, I love the.
I'm not going to lie. I would love a girlfriend. Well, I've been with my fiance for 10 years. So if you are listening, I do love you very much. But I would love somebody that actually played war games. But then would you? Because then this is your escapism.
And that's
then
exactly my thought.
Doing it with someone else.
Yeah.
And you want to do it on your own. Oh, it's an interesting one, isn't it? It sounds like a great idea, but maybe in practice it's not.
I've had this thought go round and round a few times, because I agree. It's in one level it seems really fun. Yeah, I was saying earlier, Martin, Seventh Son, did a video showing him playing a Black Powder game with his wife in their living room, and she'd taken pity on him. Not that much pity, because she thrashed him, but even though she'd never played it before. But she played British, so that's the way it should be. And I thought, that's a really nice thing. And actually, in this sort of period of shutdown, I would love it actually to have a game with one of the girls in the house. But but
have you played with your daughter before with it?
No, she years ago, when she and her sister were very much younger, and we used to game in my garage. The infamous stash room now, and I had a couple of mates come round and we'd game. They would come and join in some of the games and throw a few dice for us and what have you. And in those days we were playing a lot of Wings of War, which is the aircraft game, and occasionally they'd play that. But I think it was more for the fact that the guys used to bring crisps and what have you, and what have you, and they quite like the idea of helping themselves to our crisps as we were sitting there having a beer and eating crisps and what have you while we were gaming. But that's about as far as. We played a Risk. Imogen and I play Risk occasionally, but that's something you can't really play on your own, is it? And
it's about it. Yeah, not a tabletop game. Have you ever asked her to play a tabletop game?
No, maybe I'll do that. She's bored at home. Maybe she's bored enough to play a tabletop game.
Do you want to waste 4 hours, Imogen?
Do you want to waste 4 hours that you'll never get back in your life?
And she'll probably go, because I've got nothing else better to do.
That's true. Yeah.
You could put it. Say you could come on the YouTube channel.
See, what scares me, she'd be better. You're better than me.
You can play this guy called Ken. He always bloody loses.
He's crap. Yeah, go and take on Ken.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll have him crying in about 5 minutes.
It's weird though. It is a weird thing, and I don't know why it is. It's always been the case, as far as I can remember, how few women play. I mean, literally, it's the exception rather. It's such an exception to see women at wargaming shows, and we always used to laugh that you could see the girls that were freshly going out with some boy
Oh, 100%.
at the Wargame shows, because they go along to the first time and you'd never see them again. That was it.
Yeah, 100%.
I
saw
I've
that
done
absolutely.
that.
It's like the opposite to when you go shopping with your other half and
It
you're
is.
all wandering around behind them.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
It's exactly right. Exactly
it's just
right.
literally the opposite. Except for we have to do it every bloody week.
Exactly. We only get a couple of shows a year to do it.
Yeah. And even then, it's like, oh, do we have to go to this show? No, you stay home. Please stay. Then you take that gamble. It's like I've said to Laura before, after taking the gamble, and I've gone, oh, do you want to come to this thing with me, Laura? And knowing full well that I don't want her to actually come because I want to, chill out and not get nagged the whole way around saying, when are we going?
Yeah.
Literally before we go in. And I've taken that gamble, and just in case she gets the first, she actually said yes once, and I was like, "Oh shit, how am I going to put her off this?" It's like, "Oh yeah, we could go make a day of it in London and all that."
Oh god.
Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. So I was like, "You sure you want to go to this?" So I was just trying to find things on the website that would just put her off. I was like, "Oh look, there's a 3-hour seminar there just talking about how dice are made."
I love it.
We'll have to go and see that for sure.
Oh yeah, and that's riveting stuff.
Yeah, that kind of put her off. So it worked. But yeah, no, bless her. She hates wargaming. She just can't understand. She goes to me. She said, because she's obviously seen me painting all my models. She goes, "When do you play with them all?" I said, "What do you mean? When do I play with them all?" I said, "Play with them when I play with them. I might play with these this week, those that next week." She goes, "But you haven't played with those ones in ages." I said, "No, but in 2 years' time, I might play with them."
Yeah.
So she's like, "What? You painted all those? Play with them in 2 years' time?" Yep. I certainly have. I've wasted 9 hours of my life painting those 8 men just to play with them for like 25 minutes.
Yep. I hate the fact they're crap and throw them. No. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
I'll tell you what though, when I sold some models, Dom, I've never seen someone help with the wrapping so much. I was like, "Can you help me post these up, box them up?" And she was like, "There." She was like, "Oh yeah, I'll ship them bad boys off."
Brilliant.
She goes, "How much money did you get for them?" I was like, "Oh, is that what it is it?"
There we go. She wants a
think
cut
she
of it now, does she?
I think she understands plastic crack keeps its price.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a good investment. To be honest with you, I'm quite surprised that bloody bankers and that haven't ever thought about getting like plastic crack is holding it as like gold bullion or something. You hold the right model. It's like I found a skeleton. Well, you say this right. I found a skeleton, an old hammer skeleton from 1985.
Mm-hmm.
I went on the old hammer verification group, and it's like worth 25 quid.
Really? Bloody hell.
Yeah, I was like, all right, I don't want that. Sell.
Yeah. It is weird. I mean, some of the stuff that sells on eBay and other places is just extraordinary. You think, why?
It's crazy.
Why?
Why would someone want that? But people search for stuff like that, and it's like, fair play. If you like that, you like that.
Yeah.
That kind of leads me on to a little subject that I want to talk about, if that's all right. I was going to say, what project-wise or things that you've always wanted to do, like since you've started the hobby, but you've never done it for one reason or another because it might not be what people are into down the club, or it might not be something that you think you can get anyone to play with and stuff like that. Is there ever been anything like that you've ever thought of doing?
It's a tough one because I think, in all honesty, most periods I have played at some point or another.
But even not in periods, maybe a different scale or something like that.
No, I think even that I've done a lot of them. I think the one thing I would say that I'm sort of inching towards at the moment is.
Go on, say what I think you're going to say.
Renaissance.
No. I thought you were going to say 6 mil.
Oh no, I was waiting for you to lead me into that one. No, I have done 6 mil in the past. I used to have 6 mil Napoleonic armies. God knows where they've gone. I think I may have sold those actually.
Nah, they'd be in the loft.
They'll be somewhere. I don't know. Actually, I think I did actually sell those because part of the problem was, again, it's like I've said many times, it's about who I'm playing against, and if people aren't playing what I'm playing, then I kind of stopped
Yeah.
doing it. So my wargaming is entirely driven by what other people are playing that I'm playing against.
Yeah.
And
Remember, Dom, I'm not that far from you now.
no, exactly. I know it's a bit scary.
So it's only less than an hour's drive to yours. So it is, there's a lot of new games that you should be introduced to.
And that scares me, frankly. We've all seen my garage.
Yeah, you're gonna have to sort it out, mate.
I know. I do need to sort that garage out. I really do. I nearly did it the weekend, and then I got distracted in doing some gardening, apparently. So yeah, it's yeah. I think Renaissance though. I'd love to do Renaissance. I think, and I've never actually had a proper Renaissance army. I've never really done. But Leon last week was doing that Landsknecht force, and he's been doing them for a while.
Yeah, I'd never want to paint those. I'd want to shoot myself.
I think that's always put me off, is the whole painting of them, because they are really, really involved. But it's a lovely period because it's kind of a cross between medieval and, well, you're starting to get gunpowder coming into it. You're starting to, there's the transition from infantry being dominant, cavalry to being dominant to being infantry being dominant. It's a really interesting period, and I would love to do more. Which reminds me, before you answer your question on this one, I have to apologise, and I'll do it in a video at some point. I completely lied about the whole Hawkwood bit I was talking about. And Ralph, one of my subscribers, pointed it out, which was very decent of him, because he could have taken the absolute piss out of me. So I talked about, wandered on aimlessly about how Hawkwood was a great hero, someone I was really fascinated by and really enjoyed it, and how the period he was fighting in northern Italy, and I kind of combined a whole load of periods of history into one. So actually, it wasn't a Renaissance period that he fought in. It was literally the 100 Years' War. At the end, it was the end of the period of the Battle of Crécy and Poitiers, but before Agincourt. He died before Agincourt even happened. So I got that period completely wrong. So for anybody historically buff who was listening to me thinking, what a load of bollocks he's talking, I was talking bollocks. It's official, even more than I normally do. So there you go.
Well, at least you point out.
There we go. So anyway, what period do you want to do then? What's your thing that your scratch that you haven't itched?
Oh yeah, I've got a scratch. All right. I was just going to read out a comment from Modelling for Advantage. So the Kaiser, he's put, say sort it out. Sort it out. That really means get rid of a load of stuff in your garage, I think.
Everyone's having a go at my garage. You see, this is your fault, Ken. Now everyone knows the truth about. Yeah, Leslie said something about go and look in your garage. All the wish projects are in there. Yeah, they are. It's true.
Yeah, you definitely tell. You've seen that video, can't you?
Yeah, everyone's seen the bloody mush.
Well, you can see all my figures that I've got left to paint. They're right here. Oh, that fucking thing.
I don't know why. Why do I do this? Why do I do this video with you? I just don't get it. You just abuse.
I don't know. You didn't. Mate, you made a massive mistake by reading that email and replying to me.
I did, didn't I? What a mistake I didn't make it. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, you made a massive mistake there. But no, for me, I'm not gonna lie. I have, since I started wargaming, I've always wanted to be interested in Warhammer Fantasy. So I know fantasy doesn't appeal to you, which is fair enough.
It does. No, it does. But...
All right. Have you got the Total War game? You've got Total War Warhammer?
No, I haven't. No. Oh no, I have. Yes, I have on the computer game.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I was thinking board game, but yes, I've got computer game.
Computer game. So yeah. But basically, I've always wanted to do a Bretonnia army, which is again borderline medieval. So they are basically crusading knights, basically, and they're based around medieval. I'll tell you what, if you can, go on Google and just. Do you know what Bretonnia is?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I've seen the figures. They're lovely. Dan Bauman does some, doesn't he? He's painted some up. They look absolutely stunning.
But But yeah, I've always wanted to do an army of them, but they're out of print from Games Workshop, so they're a pain in the ass and they're bloody expensive.
Oh, really? Are they?
Yeah, to find the actual Games Workshop ones.
Uh-huh.
But I am on the lookout at the moment because I'm thinking about doing a video that involves an army.
Yeah.
And painting it all at once.
Right.
So doing the whole thing literally over like 2 or 3 days, and starting with on sprue or just built.
Yeah.
And literally doing a massive time lapse video of it all.
Wow.
Which I think obviously do voiceover work and stuff like that, but I think that would be quite a nice video for people to sit back and just enjoy, like watch an army come to fruition.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking about doing it with a bolt action army as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm definitely on the lookout at the moment for some Bretonians. So if anyone's got Bretonians and they want to sell them, I'm your man.
So why then? Why that army?
I don't know. Again, it's one of those things from childhood, seeing them in all the White Dwarf magazines, and always like the colours. They're bright. You can make them vibrant. And again, it links back to that medieval thing I was telling you about.
Yeah.
You know, I've always liked the medieval sort of style and period. I've played Kingdom Come Deliverance on the PC. I've done a lot of hours in that.
Yeah.
Do you remember on the PC a game called Stronghold?
Oh yeah. That was quite a good game.
My lord.
Yeah. Yeah, my lord.
The granary is empty, sire. Bloody game. Yeah, but yeah, no. I've ever since then, but I've always wanted to paint. But I knew back then I could never paint something like that.
Right.
But I know now I could.
Yeah.
I can paint half decent with an airbrush and all that sort of jazz.
Yeah.
I could do it, and I could make them look good. So that's the thing. I really want to do that, but that's not going to come cheap, I don't think, unless I find an absolute bargain somewhere.
So you touched on it there, in what you're talking about around the whole kind of Games Workshop piece. And I have to say, as a historical gamer who hasn't really done any of that kind of Games Workshop stuff, or not properly, I don't get this whole it's got to be official Games Work figures. Why is that a thing?
Oh, okay. One, because Games Workshop won't let you play. If I go to Warhammer World, won't let you play with any other figures apart from your own.
Right. So they'll actually make you stop playing with
play with non-Games Workshop stuff. If Games Workshop invented the game, and it's out of print, so like Warhammer Epic and stuff like that, you can still play that there because it was made by them. But if it's not made by them, you cannot play it there.
That's so crazy. And that's why.
A weird one.
Yeah, so I can sort of understand in their home.
I also really like the sculpts.
Yeah,
because they're made by Perry Miniatures,
right?
And they're just classic sculpts. And obviously, it's a nostalgia thing as well. So remembering them from when I was younger.
Yeah.
And it's just a nostalgia thing, I think, more than anything else.
Right.
Because that's a whole podcast on its own, nostalgia.
Oh God.
That's like something else. But yeah, for me, nostalgia, absolutely. The Emperor's Wrath. Good evening, brothers. Have you completed your 5 daily prayers for the Emperor? See, look, that's from my channel. See, I understand. Yes, I have.
I don't know what he's talking about.
Indeed.
Don't know what he's talking
exactly. Yeah.
No idea. I've got King Matt the Superior is in the house. So I'll say hello to him because I know what he's saying. He's saying hello.
The Kaiser's put, I have 100 dwarves done for Kings of War, never finished the army, never played the game. Oh, dwarves. Dwarf.
Don't get him started. Look, you had to go and mention the bloody dwarves again, didn't you?
Yeah.
We got away with contrast paints, and he's now bloody, and he didn't really didn't get a rise out of that one at all. But dwarves, oh my God.
Oh yeah, dwarves. Yeah, there's only true heroes play the dwarf. Well, I've got Gimli sitting in front of me. he's ready to be painted.
I thought you were referring to me for a minute.
So I can say he started.
Oh, well,
but I love. We went to Mantic Games when we were in Nottingham.
Yeah,
myself and Liam and a couple of the other guys, and checked out Kings of War. And yeah, it looks like really good money's value for what you actually get. But again, if I'm talking fantasy dwarves, I'm gonna want the classic figures from Games Workshop because of the sculpts, and it's what I remember, and nostalgia again is kicking in. They say so well French. How could you say? Yeah, the Britannians. Yeah, the Britannians are very, very French. They pray. They blessed the lady. And then Leslie's put, it was all based on medieval knights, but you could use any medieval figures. So there are loads available now. When Games Workshop did them, there were not so many makers in that period. Oh yeah, agreed. Yeah, totally, Leslie. You could use any figures to make them up. Absolutely, there's no reason you couldn't. But I definitely would want the classic sculpts, because when someone looks at my army and they'd see that it was all painted up nicely or to a decent standard, and it's the old sculpts and figures, people get a little bit of a buzz off that, you know? People see it. It's like when I was playing Epic at Warhammer World, everyone was stopping. So like, what's this? Oh my God, what is this? Even had Games Workshop employees coming up to me and Forge World guys going, what's that game then? I'm thinking, Jesus, they not teach you history.
No, we're in fantasy.
I said,
land.
well, mate, it's Epic. And he's like, what's that?
Oh my
and I was like,
God.
oh, fucking hell. I was thinking, Jesus Christ. nearly an email came out. Nearly an email. Dear Games Workshop, your employee name said has no idea what Warhammer Epic is. I am ashamed.
That's brilliant. That is brilliant.
Yeah. The thing is, I've had a chat with Games Workshop customer support before, yeah, and I talk to them like I'm in the Imperium of Man, so I'm in the 40k universe. So I will treat them as like they're the Inquisition, basically. The Inquisition is like the police of the Imperium of Man, so 40k universe for the Imperium. So I treat them as that. So you pray, you know, you don't want to piss the Inquisition off because they'll come and shoot you, and you'll be a heretic. And yeah. But it's quite funny because I left some figures up there, and they emailed me the next day and they said, "Your what was it, Dark Reapers? Your Dark Reapers have been on a bit of a pillaging spree and making their way around the whole store." And then they show me a load of pictures of my Dark Reapers that I left all over the Games Workshop shop, different pictures. They've kind of done enough damage now. If you want to come and collect them, feel free. You know, it's like a jokey sort of way of them talking to you, which I quite like. Don't get me wrong, but my God, what I don't like about Games Workshop is their bloody prices. That's another argument for another day. Jesus Christ, it's ridiculously expensive.
Well, that's what I could never understand. So they have this, you know, you've got to use their figures, but they're more expensive than anybody else's figures.
Oh Christ!
Generally, they're now figures that you can get elsewhere that are at least as good, probably in some cases, arguably better quality.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they'd be better quality because these figures from like the late 90s, all that sort of jazz. But it's just the classicness of it. It's the nostalgia factor, I think.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, that's good. I get that, and that's great. I'm all for nostalgia. I think it's interesting, but I'm intrigued by it, as I always have been, because I'm not.
So you're the rare. I'd say you were the rare oddity. A lot of people start wargaming through Games Workshop.
It's true.
And and they do it that way, or unless you're part of, like, don't want to say it, the old guard. And you're one of those, yes.
That's me.
I shun the Games Workshop. I want to roll my dice and see who dies. So the Napoleonic stuff. And I want 17 pages of rules on how to turn my model to the right by 19 degrees. Sorry if I'm ripping on you, but
have you been down to Farnborough lately? Then I can hear that every week. Yeah, it's true, and it's one of those things that always fascinates me, because I'm not against fantasy at all. I enjoy apart from Talisman. That's a different story. That was just the players I was playing against. That's all. But I love fantasy as a genre. I enjoy the Tolkien books, and I enjoy I've read all sorts of fantasy.
We'd have to have a game of Lord of the Rings with me, bud.
Yeah, I'd love that. I would actually. I'd enjoy it, and it's all down to it's all down for me. It's who I'm playing with and against, and just so
Yeah, yeah,
happens the people I've always played with have been historic gamers. And I mentioned this on one of the first pods. I think that I got into gaming because the dad of one of my best friends at school back in the day, back in God, I don't know, it must have been about 12 or 13, had a 15 mil Napoleonic army. And I just
yeah,
looked at these figures and just thought, I mean, literally had every battalion that was in it was the Confederacy of the Rhine, which was basically Napoleon's um, alliance he formed with forced all these German states to join. And he had literally every battalion that was in the Confederate of the Line in 15 mil. I can't even remember what the rule system was, and it was just extraordinary. Um, and I just fell in love with it. And I've been doing a bit of D&D up till then, but after that it was
yeah,
just wargaming. It had to be wargaming, proper historic wargaming.
yeah.
But
Crazy, isn't it?
and I don't, so if I'm going to take up, move from being a historic gamer and move into a fantasy gamer, what should what's the game that would get me hooked? What would get me excited?
Well, it depends really, because if you're like you just told me, you love the Tolkien books. So probably Lord of the Rings
Right.
would be a good one. But it depends what you want to do really, because if you want to play the books out, like if you want to do the books as the books are, like through the story, you can do that. Like I want to do that, and maybe it's something you might want to do as well. So you could just go down the line of collecting like the Fellowship or something like that. It's a skirmish game again. But you can either do like scenarios, so like you work through all three of the films, but they're not the films per se; they're actually scenarios from the books.
Right.
So you've got like, so you've read all three of the books,
Yeah,
yeah?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So like in the films, they don't show you the Barrow Wights or anything like that, do they?
No, no.
But in the actual scenario books for the Lord of the Rings on here, you get that and Tom Bombadil and stuff like that. That you don't even hear about in the films. I didn't even know who he was, but he's probably one of my favorite characters now. I've painted him up, and they get their own scenarios. But you can also play like skirmish war games, so you could just pick an army and just go to battle. But again, it depends what sort of rule set you want. Kings of War do a nice fantasy rule set that's pretty straightforward. But I find for fantasy, I'd want to do it more, not match play, but more of an open play sort of scenario, maybe for most of my games. So like put a story behind it. So mixing a bit of D&D style of making your own world up, maybe, and going that way. But you've got Warhammer Fantasy, but again, that was a bloody confusing game. But it is one for you, Dom. They're bringing out Games Workshop are re-releasing Warhammer Fantasy.
Are they? Interesting.
They mentioned it last year, so they are bringing it back. So maybe they've given it a couple of years. They said at least 3 or 4 years, because that's how long it takes for production. To make a game, doesn't it? It takes that sort of time.
It does, yeah.
But maybe that's the start for you, maybe to look into it.
Now, the only thing that's always worried about, again, I'm not having a dig against Games Workshop because I think I'm not like that. I do actually think, despite all their ridiculous pricing systems, they do actually bring a lot of people into the hobby, and that's a good thing. But I do get fed up with this constant. You've got to get the latest book. You've got to upgrade.
Oh no, I don't even bother with that. I don't. Do you know what I mean? If you're just playing with mates, right? If you're playing with mates, you don't have to, mate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the same with any rule set. There's nothing stopping you playing Muskets and Tomahawks First Edition, is there?
No, there isn't. No.
No. Do you know what I mean? You don't have to.
It's just what your mates play, isn't it?
It's match play. If you're going to match play it,
yeah.
Against other people that are random, then yeah. But if you've got a friend or a couple of mates that are happy just to go with the main core rule book of what's in there, then you've got no issue really. Because me and Liam went through that phase of buying the chapter approved and all that stuff. So that's like the updates of the erratas and stuff. Because they're not free with Games Workshop. Some of those, the chapter approved.
Really?
Yeah, they do FAQs which are free, so you get those for free anyway. But I find if the game's not broken for what you're playing with, so there might be an FAQ about a unit that's nothing to do with you. There's no point of bloody getting the FAQ. Oh yeah, Modern for Advantage said Warcry. That's a quick. You heard of Kill
Yeah,
Team?
yeah, I've
Yeah,
heard of it, never played it, obviously, but yeah.
Yeah. I got the Kill Team rule book. It's not bad. But Warcry, it depends. For me, fantasy is like the Napoleonics of that sort of stuff. I'd want a big army of it, and to have like 300 goblins and shit like that.
I have to say that's what appeals to me. And Leslie's telling me
Yeah.
off. He says you've got enough stash in your garage. You're quite right. I have. I don't need any more. But that does appeal to me. And I think if I did play fantasy, I would like to do, massed armies. The old how you imagined and see in the old films of Lord of the Rings, all these massed armies, heading across the countryside. I think to me that would excite me, and I'd really like to do it. And when I go to shows and I see people with like a mass ranks of orcs and goblins, and then a couple of trolls, big mountain giants and what have you in amongst it. I think that's really looks so cool, and I would love to do that.
Doesn't it?
I would love to do that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what appeals to me. And there's nothing stopping you doing. There's nothing stopping you doing that with Lord of the Rings. To be honest with you, you can do that with Lord of the Rings. But again, I don't know. Just if I was to pick Lord of the Rings or like fantasy or Kings of War, Kings of War is meant to be really good to actually play.
I watched a couple of videos of that online, and it does look an interesting rule system. I think it's a possibility. They do a historic version, don't they? I've no idea anyone's played that version of it.
No, did you know that Warhammer used to do historic?
Yeah, I used to play it.
Yeah. Oh, you played it, did you?
Yeah, I used to play Warhammer Ancients all the time. That was my favourite favourite rule system after I gave up on all the competition gaming. Yeah.
Oh right, okay. You still got the rule book?
Yeah, I have. Yeah. All the different supplements for that.
Gave me that.
Well, there you go. Yeah, all my figures, the garage there, that all the ones in the boxes, that's what they were all deployed for. That's what they're all set up for. Is playing Warhammer Ancient Battles. We used to play it all the time, and when they basically ditched it as a rule set, I've kind of still been looking for a rule set that I like as much.
Like it.
Yeah.
There might even be a fan made group, Dom. There is on Facebook, on the Facebook groups. There is actually a Warhammer Ancients Facebook group. Might be worth you joining that.
Yeah, I think I might do. But again, it comes down to, I did mention it down at Farnborough once about playing it, and nobody either had the rules or really was that keen on playing it. It's about
as soon as they hear Warhammer.
Yeah, I think that's the bit that puts people off. To be absolutely honest, you're right. And then again, for me, I also play, as you see on the channel, I play so many different periods and so many different rule sets that it's actually finding the time to do something different. But those big fantasy battles, particularly fantasy, more than anything else, I think kind of just grabs the excitement because as a kid I used to read all those books, still do.
Yeah, exactly. And having a load of goblins running across a field and all that, and a load of dwarfs.
It's back on his dwarfs again, folks. Yeah. Yeah, Leslie's saying a table full of 7-year war figures would look just as good, and British in India had elephants and camels and stuff. You're right, they do, and there's nothing wrong with all that, and I love all those sort of things too, absolutely. But you can never have too many periods or figures or statues, can you?
There's something that twigs in my mind though that just takes me back to being young again. Like, well, I can't say I'm not, but being a kid and thinking about all like using your imagination with all like the trolls and all that sort of stuff when you're younger, like you say, reading your books. Mine was like watching cartoons and stuff, or reading like Tolkien and all that. When I'll tell you what, as soon as I listen to audio books, that's what I listen to a lot of because I can't be asked to read, and just one of those things. But I just literally, when I was listening to Tolkien's audio books for the Lord of the Rings, they're like 16, 17 hours long each. I'm like, I need to buy some Lord of the Rings figures now, because if I don't, then I'm not going to be a happy bunny. And that's what made me buy the Pelennor Fields box set.
Right.
Was listening to those books. And to be fair, that's nearly actually finished being painted. It's not much left, but definitely, there's just so much to play, isn't there? That's the bloody problem.
It is, and in all seriousness, and my stash is out of hand enough without having to buy even more figures. But I do, at the end of the day, it's what gets you excited and doing things, and it's a hobby. I'm fortunate in a position where I can spend a fair bit of money on what I want to do, and it is my only real interest outside of work and family.
Same as me.
So
Exactly same as me.
it's like, so that I'm going to go and spend the money and do what I want. So, but it is, it is just the thought of. Actually, no, it's not even the thought of painting it all up. I would love to do it. I actually, the more I think about
That's
it,
what I mean. What a change that would be for you to paint goblins.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? To use all those bright colours and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And just let your imagination run wild, because you don't have to be.
You don't have to be certain colours or certain uniforms.
Your goblins can be whatever colour you want them, because you can make story up to them. You can say, "Oh, these guys are orange because," or "These guys are." Orange probably not a good colour, but I don't know, like a really dark brown goblin because they've been underground for millennia and the skin's adapted to be that colour. You could do whatever you wanted, couldn't you? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think that is, again, I think the thing that excites me about doing something like that is that sort of backstory. I think that's where these sort of rules, where there's all these, very dictated rules or army lists that you can only do this or that and the other, or these have got to be that. It's great for the historic thing, but I think when it gets into fantasy, it puts me off, because I do like to have that ability to think through
stuff.
Yeah, and just think,
that's why I like late war Germans, so like Berlin. You've got all these different units that were just scrapped together, and there's no military order to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I like that. I think that's bloody awesome. It's like you've got with the Sea Lion books, you've got the cricket team and shit like that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's one of the reasons I like Bolt Action is that exactly that. I mean, I try to build more often than not a sort of themed army in some way. At least I've got it in my head. So is it going to be? At one point, I was going to go to Wargaming to do a where is it? To Warlords to do their D-Day competition, and I was taking a recce formation that I sort of done all the research into this particular Panzer recce formation, and I built the force to match that. In the end, I decided to go with more static beach defense type force. But in my mind, I had exactly what it was going to be. I'd done the research into, what the type of armored cars they had, although you couldn't actually use it in that army list. That goes shows how accurate their army lists are. But I'd at least investigated it, and I do love the idea with the whole fantasy thing of saying, right, like you say, this particular clan of whatever it is happens to live in this mountain where there's this going on, and that's why they have a particular color skin or what have you. I think that's kind of.
Or they've got a massive grudge against these dwarfs, these particular dwarfs, because they kicked them out of their home all those years ago, and they've always wanted revenge. And you can make up your own story, and it just adds flavor to it. And that's what I mean. That's the same with the Bretonians. It's like, I don't want a Bretonian army that matches say what the Warhammer books say. I'm going to make my own.
Yeah,
I do it. I'm going to make my own Blessed of the Lady, and just put, this is the long lost, I don't know, Grail Knight, the one that they never knew about, and coming back to reclaim some land been lost for centuries.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. That's what I mean. You can do that with fantasy, and you can do it with 40k as well. So sci-fi, you can do it exactly the same. But Games Workshop leave it open so you can do that in their lore for their 40k stuff, because with Space Marines, they're 10 founding chapters, which they haven't retconned, but there's 10 founding chapters. But there's also 2 missing chapters. So 2 chapters of Space Marines that are classified. No one knows what's happened to him. No one knows who their primates were. So it gives you the chance to make your own story up.
Right, so that gives you the option to go rogue and do whatever you want, which is good.
Whatever you like.
Yeah. And you can do that. I mean,
Which-
that's what I love about even within the historical genre. You can do, you can, like, I don't know, the Indian Wars. You can do a particular column that was involved in particular fight and build your force to match that, and that's the sort of thing I love doing. And I think that's why ultimately I got away from a lot of the competition gaming, because I like that sort of historical, or just that storytelling. I guess maybe that's more the thing. It's the storytelling. You can build around an army, a force, to say, well, this is a particular snapshot of history. This is this force that did this in this campaign.
Yeah.
And I love that. I think that's really good. Show them some 7-year-old Prussians, 7-year war Prussians. Yeah, I don't know. that's a uniform level and a half, Leslie. That really is. Martin, seventh son, is in the house. Hi, Martin. How you doing, mate?
Not really.
You missed all our talk about you playing a game with your wife and how we would never get away with that.
No, this wouldn't happen. I'd literally be thinking she'd be saying hello to the milkman every day if she started playing bloody war games with me.
What's she done? It's like,
what's she done?
It's like the female equivalent of you coming home with a bunch of flowers and she thinking,
what have you done?
What have you done then?
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I think that whole law thing, I think it's a really interesting bit, and I think that would be fascinating to do. And that is what appeals.
I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait. Well, I'm not going to wait. I'm going to wait for the rule set for fantasy for the new edition, see what it's like.
Mm-hmm.
But I am going to build a force, what I want to build beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to build an army up and then see how I can fit that into the new game and go from there. If I need to get other units or tweak it, you know what I mean? But I want to build an army that I'll build, I think, just for me. Just for the pure fact of actually wanting to build it. So I think I might do that. But oh my god, what's time? Bloody hell, it's 20 to 10 again.
Time flies when you're having fun, doesn't it? When we're rabbiting a lot of rubbish.
I do want to do a plug quickly for another channel. Just going to get it up now. It's Hollywood Wargaming.
All right, don't know that one.
No, he's only got 60 subs or 70 subs last time I looked. But Dom, I'm not kidding you. Yeah, if you like your bolt action and you like an army review and listening to something, like when you're at work tomorrow, just have it on in the background because there's no actual video. It's bloody amazing. He's gone through. There it is. He's gone through so far. He's doing Star Wars and he's doing bolt action alternative time. So he's done a US faction review for bolt action. He's done the Russians. He's done the Japanese. He's done his top 10 panzers for bolt action. He's done Italians and has done British vehicles. I'm not kidding. They're about 30 minutes long. Some of them are 40 minutes.
Blimey.
But he goes through and he breaks down, like, he gives it a score out of 50 each faction. So he'll explain it. He'll say, right, for playability factor, he'll give it a 1 to 10, and he'll explain why he gives it a 1 to 10 in that category.
Yeah.
He'll put it down to what they're like to play against. So if they're so OP that they steamroll every time, he'll give it a shit score. If they're more balanced, he'll give it the best score.
Yeah.
But he'll break down units and things like that. Why this army is really good and why it's not so good for that sort of thing. It's a really good listen, and I would definitely recommend.
What was it called again? Tell me.
Hollywood Wargaming.
Hollywood, right? Okay, I'm going to look him up. Good.
And yeah, he's definitely worth listening to. I'm just about to listen to his top 10 British films. He's only been going a little while. He's been going. Let's have a look. How long's he been going? 2 weeks, and he's up to 73 subs already.
That's pretty good. All right, I shall look out.
And he's done the Germans as well, and the British, I should say.
Nice.
So he's done all the major factions, but he's going to go through and do every faction, including this minor nations like Finland, Hungary, Romania. He's going to do all that. Literally any faction you can play, he's going to do it.
Nice.
But like I said, there's no video there. It's more of a podcast.
Okay, I shall look out for that. That sounds really
Yeah,
interesting. Good tip, thank you. Always good to
yeah,
hear about
no,
things to.
no, definitely thought about. It just popped up on my thing. I must have been searching for bolt action a lot,
Mm, mm.
and it popped up, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. So I was like, yeah.
Good.
But no, I definitely wanted to give him a plug. So hopefully get him some more subscribers because he's done some really nice content.
Excellent.
Really nice. If you want, Kaiser said, if you want mass battles, Kings of War sounds like a good fit. You remove units, not models, so you can dramatically sculpt your bases as a mini diorama. Oh, okay. So you don't just take individual models off. It's made up of 30 units. You take the whole thing off.
Yeah, I was
Oh,
watching some guy in America playing it. I can't remember what his name was. In the end, I actually unsubbed him because he was a bit of an arsehole with a couple of things he was doing. Um, Ranting. Oh, no, actually, he was ranting about women in gaming. And he was just like, hey, they have no place and what have you. And I'm not a complete sexist or anything like that. Or, sorry, opposite. Um,
yeah.
but it was like, you asshole. He was just doing it for effect, so I unsubscribed him. That made a
Oh,
huge
yes.
difference to his
Yeah.
numbers. But anyway, he did some really good battle reports using those rules, and I thought they were actually quite interesting. A lot of dice rolling. A lot of dice rolling. That was the only thing that slightly put me off, which is weird coming from the Warhammer Ancient Battles, which was loads of dice rolling as well. There you go. See you, Matt.
Yeah.
See you later, mate. We're off in a minute as well, I think.
Yeah, it's not going to be long.
But yeah, I think I would like to investigate those. And there was somebody was giving them away. It was like a draw thing. You had like a dozen sets to give away, and I did.
They're not that dear, Dom.
No,
An army in a box is 100 quid.
oh really?
Yeah, and it's an army in a box.
That's pretty
It's
good.
literally shitloads of models. It's like 80 models or something.
Oh God,
But
don't, Ken, don't.
yeah, but the other problem is they've got so many different factions. It's like they haven't just got one dwarf, they've got 4 different types.
And that'll be my problem. Is I'll think, oh, this is brilliant, and I'll buy that before I know it, I've got 5 different armies on the go. Because we've all seen my crack problem. But,
well, you know what you want to do? Because why don't you? Something that you know 100. There's got to be something 100% you're never going to do.
Yeah.
You must know something you're not going to do. Why don't you sell it and then use that money to buy some new figures that you want?
The honest problem is I have done that with pretty much everything that I will never use. So my 40k, I did have a whole load of 40k figures. For instance, I had is it Tau army, which I sold.
Oh yeah, the fish people.
Yeah, I sold that. I had a Imperial Guard thing, which I sold off. All I've got left is a few sort of unpainted figures, which I'm waiting, frankly, for when eBay do their maximum selling fees of £1, and then I'll sell the rest of that off. I suppose the only thing but everything else.
Do you not sell them on the Facebook groups?
No, I haven't done. No,
I bought loads of stuff for the buy and sell group. Dom, don't go on the buy and sell.
Oh God,
because you'll be.
Don't,
you can pick up some right bargains on the buy and sell group on the bloody on the Facebook stuff. Yeah. Don't do that. But,
Jesus, There's too many temptations, Ken. You know this. There is too many temptations, and there's not enough time for all the gaming. Frankly, I need to retire so I've got time to game. That's my problem.
Yes. Oh, I've got a few years to go for that, which is a bit of a pain in the ass. Yeah.
Well, sadly, my wife keeps telling me I have too, which is really upsetting. There you go. So, can I retire next year? Yeah. No. Can you retire? No. She said, we got plans. We're going on holidays. We're going around the world, and you've got to earn the money to do that. Oh, shit. That's not fair.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Cheers for that.
Exactly. That's my thought process. Exactly. So hang on. I have to go and do all this. And yeah, all right. That's the way it works.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, she does the gardening.
She does the gardening, yeah, exactly. Makes up for it, doesn't it? 100%.
But no, I think it's I have a definite itch around fantasy figures. I do really have it.
There you go. Maybe you need to play a bit of the Total War again and just have a little look and maybe scratch that itch.
Yeah.
Because I'll probably, you know what'll happen is I'll probably get an army and do a painting video, and you'll be like, "Shit, I want to do that."
It does scare me because the one thing I do know about the fantasy range, and again maybe it's something for another topic another week, but the difference in the pricing of fantasy versus historic figures is actually quite scary.
Yeah.
You know, some of the manufacturers I go on and I'll pick up the odd little figure just to put a bit of difference in some of my war bands or whatever it may be, because they sort of fit, and you're paying like £5 for a figure, and it's like, well, I could almost get a blister pack for that.
Kings of War aren't like that though. To be fair,
are they not? That's good.
No. Yeah, have a look at Mantic Games Kings of War, and they do some nice figures. I'm not gonna lie. When I was up there, there was some beautiful sculpts. They do like wood elves and stuff like that.
Oh, shit. I've got that Atlantis Kickstarter coming at some point. That could be my army. See, the Wood Elf army. There you go. Trouble is, I'd rather an evil force though.
What would be your go-to faction then? Go on, Dom. Yeah, I'll end it on that.
It would probably, without knowing all the different nuances of them, I would gravitate towards an evil force, definitely. It would be probably some sort of orcs or something
goblins,
like that.
Yeah,
probably not goblins because they're a bit weak, but the orcs I always liked, and I like some of the sort of dark knight type armies, those sort of things.
Yeah, like dark elves or something like that.
Yeah, possibly dark elves. I quite like the fact they're just pure
chaos
evil. And
chaos. Yeah, chaos.
So I don't really know all the different factions, but those sort of things where you
do some research.
Yeah. There you go. There's a place to end.
Have a guess what I picked. Have a guess apart from
dwarves. Then right. Yeah, there's a bloody surprise. Dwarves. Shock horror. Ken is into dwarves.
And they'd be all ginger as well.
All modelled on himself.
I did that with one of my Ogren for K. Ken Gorga Great.
Ken Gorga Great.
And he had a maul. I've got a picture of him somewhere. I'll have to put it up. But yeah, I did myself in a figure. So it was definitely fun. Liam did try and kill it a lot.
There is actually on the Kickstarter that they're doing for this Baron Wars. You can, if you go in with a top one, I think it's £400 or something. But they will make you 2 bespoke models of yourself to go in the army.
Wow, crazy!
They're only doing 2 of them but last time they did it, they had so many people wanting to do it. It's like, oh my god, £400. I mean, you get the rest of the Kickstarter as well, so you get everything that they're selling, which is 100 odd quid worth of figures. But then to get these 2 bespoke, they'll only be made. Apparently, they give you the mold as well. So if you want to go and get them made somewhere else, more of them.
You can.
Yeah, you can. So there you go.
That's pretty cool.
Shut up, Martin. I don't need you. Thank you. He said, do it. Just add to the mountain. No. Shauno's saying you need to scratch that itch. Look, guys, I do not need this. Thank you. You've seen my stash. No.
Look at all those ones behind him. Yeah. Well, I've got 5 cases worth behind me. I can't. Well, roughly, I've probably got about 4,000 models, something like that, in total painted. Which is kind of crazy. That's including my epic stuff as well. Obviously, my 6mm. That balance a bit, but.
I don't even want to count it.
Good times.
Don't even want to count it, mate. All right. Well, I think it is time, isn't it?
Yeah. What have you got done tonight then?
Well, not an awful lot. I've kind of done the base coat for most of this building and bit the inside.
Airbrush, Dom. You've had that done in about 3 or 4 minutes.
I know. I've done a bit of the ruins. Needs washing. Oh.
I have just finished the Home Guard unit for Dad's army. I've done all the characters, so I've done. Try and hold them up individually. I've got then the ones where they're in uniform. So I haven't done the civilian ones yet. I just started. I've near enough finished thingy. So Godfrey's there. You can't really see, to be honest.
A bit dark to see him, but yeah.
I'll put some pictures up on Miniature War Game and Warriors Facebook page, but I've got they're all done. So that's my first lot of Dad's Army
Nice
done.
job.
I can use them on the table now, which is really nice. It's got the civilian versions to do because they've got some really quirky rules. They've got some really cool rules. Captain Mannering's actually gets, I think it's 4 order dice, and he's only a captain,
Bloody
which
hell.
is really nice.
4 order dice. Jeez.
Yeah, he's something like that. That's
That's
if he's got
not like
side
your
rules.
15 anti-tank rifles that you were allowed in that army
No.
that you
That's
played
actually in the
against.
book.
Yeah.
That's actually in the book.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm happy with all those. I'll take some pictures and put them on the Miniature Wargaming Warriors Facebook page.
Good job.
But yeah, no, that was a good week, good chat. Not 100% about next week because I'm on call. So not sure if it's going to go ahead. We'll say it is, but if I have to pull out last minute, Dom could do a stream on his own.
I can talk shit for a couple of hours quite happily, as you've seen. So
Leslie keep you company.
There you go. There we go.
But yeah, no, I've enjoyed it. Maybe I don't know. Maybe we should go. I'll tell you what. The week after next, maybe we should have a topic. Why don't we talk about nostalgia?
Nostalgia. There we go. Week of nostalgia. God damn.
We'll do not next week. The week after, when I'm definitely here, the whole do nostalgia. So episode 7 that will be.
I'm going to leave you with the last thought that Martin's just put in my chat here. He said, "My worst fear is that I'll die and my wife will sell all my models for what I told them they cost."
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
I told my missus. I remember when I bought that VR headset when it first came out. Yeah, and it was £900. I told her it cost me 150. She still doesn't know to this day.
She does now. Now you're screwed.
Shit, I said it a bit loud.
You did, yeah.
She's
standing right behind you, Ken.
Yeah. Well, thank you everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you again next week for episode 6 of the Plastic Crack podcast.
Fabulous. Thanks, guys. See you again soon. Have a good week.
Oh, done.
Done.